when someone gives us a shot the first time, it's, let's walk them down the line of like, hey, we're going to be there no matter what.
Yep.
There's always going to be obstacles,
Yep.
but we're not leaving you.
Yep.
It's not like, oh, we run into an obstacle we've never seen. All right, good luck.
Yep. See ya.
That's
Yep.
not
Next.
something.
Next.
So,
Yep.
it's like really building,
Yep.
value to our customers of being there for them.
All right, welcome to the 20th episode of the American Dream podcast. This week we have Colton with SPSI. I'll let you introduce yourself and kind of tell everyone who you are and what you do.
Perfect. Well, thanks for having me. My name is Colton Codute, kind of from SPSI is kind of what he mentioned. So kind of story was just kind of filling both of them in. Kind of graduated college from St. John's in 22, and then kind of started my career world in door-to-door selling pest control, and then did a couple years of that, and then kind of transitioned into SPSI, which is kind of a family company. Grandpa, father, aunts, cousins, all kind of involved. So kind of you don't always know if you're going to get roped into the family business. So it was, you give it a chance.
Yeah.
You obviously want to try it. You want to try everything. So I think it was something I've done for almost 2.5 years now. So it's been a good fit. Obviously, family business have pros and cons, but really cool. What SPSI does, obviously, we sell equipment, supplies for mostly textiles, a little bit of graphics. So a lot of equipment, a lot of supplies, a lot of support for just all that kind of world. A lot of big companies, small companies, all walks of life. So that's kind of what SPSI does. And I'm a territory sales, so I kind of manage Minnesota, Wisconsin, South Dakota, North Dakota, so big, wide territory. And then all the intricacies of wearing multiple hats, doing a lot of the social media now. Just trying to, obviously like you, just trying to do more with less, I think, in a world of, what the internet and what social media can unlock for businesses is really, at our fingertips. And if we're
sky's the limit.
Yeah, if you're willing to, at least try.
Put yourself out there a little bit.
Absolutely. Be vulnerable. Just show your story. I think the biggest thing about what we're trying to just accomplish with any walk of social media is just documenting what we do. And doing it in a way that, lets our customers in on, what is a day in the life of SPSI? What do we deal with? Obviously, every print shop deals with, problems, obstacles, deadlines, and we're on the receiving end of a lot of those. Hey, got this customer needs it tomorrow. Well, who feels that? We feel that.
Oh yeah.
Because we're getting the calls. Hey, get this to us tomorrow.
And it just trickles down.
We just had that like last week, and it's like that's what we see, and that's hopefully the support and the service that we can provide is, we're always one phone call away. That's what I always tell a lot of my customers is just I give my cell phone out for a reason. If you're in sales, you're in it for a reason. You're not turning your phone off. I don't have multiple phones. I give you my phone, and I think that's what we try to provide. The ultimate service at SPSI is kind of what we try to live by.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons I really wanted to have you as a guest on here is you're honestly the sole reason that we order everything from SPSI. Just that we talk about a lot, that customer service gets lost in today's world with the internet and you don't get a face to the name of who you're ordering from. So being able to work with you, and you've solved a lot of our problems, whether it's me or some of my team members messaging you, and you make it happen for us, and that's huge. So being able to have you come on and tell your story on how you're able to hold on to that customer service and really give that customer experience is a cool side of the sales, which a lot of people kind of forget that's out there, and that's really important to really help you stand out in the busy world that we live in.
Yeah, I think that's a big testament to my father and just kind of how they were raised and how the company was started was just the customer's always first, right?
Yeah.
And there's pros and cons to that.
Definitely.
As everyone knows, you're putting yourself out there. A lot of times it's good. A lot of times it can be bad. So we just try to be. I always say we just try to be a resource, right? For everything that we do. Just let us be a resource to you. If you have a problem, if you're embroidery, digitizing, we can provide you with resources there that people may just not even want to provide. Where it's like that may help you solve a problem, and if we can solve problems to every shop, then we can be a resource to every shop. And that's and then we can help. A lot of people come to us and say, "Hey, who would you recommend?" And a lot of times it's there's a few shops that come to mind. And we just, we try to partner up with shops that we think help, we can help get, in the right hands.
Yep.
So it's just being a resource to our customers.
Building those relationships and everything with all the shops, and I think that really helps provide, you're providing value then back to the shops, which, is going to differentiate yourself from just being a boring supplier that you call for materials and that's it. And I think that's a huge piece.
It's worth its weight in gold right there, just being able to have that helping hand and whether it's a referral for something you need or helping on the supplies or equipment and all that stuff. And having that personal touch on there is huge.
And we lean a lot on our vendors. I think that's something that we just strive for.
Sure.
Vendor support is huge in an industry that, we touch everything.
Yep.
Whether it's chemicals or inks or
Yep.
equipment. It's like you need that vendor support.
Yep.
And a lot of times we get stuck supporting it.
Sure.
So if we can get vendor support, it's just like
Even that much
gravy.
better. Yeah.
It's absolute gravy. So it's like
Yep.
we can, lean on a lot of our really long support.
Yep.
We have vendors that are 35, 40, 50 years where it's like we started with them in business and
Yep.
now it's just like, we can really untap, whether it's emulsion or ink,
Yep.
Equipment.
Yep.
Like we just have those long-term relationships that we really value.
Yep.
And for that reason of just being resourceful,
Yep.
hey, I'm having an issue with this. What have we seen? It's like
Yep.
we should have an answer for most of those.
Yep.
Obviously, there's always, hey,
Unknowns.
never seen
Yeah.
that before.
That's a new one.
But, just working through it. I
Yep.
think that's what we tell our customers is like, when someone gives us a shot the first time, it's, let's walk them down the line of like, hey, we're going to be there no matter what.
Yep.
There's always going to be obstacles,
Yep.
but we're not leaving you.
Yep.
It's not like, oh, we run into an obstacle we've never seen. All right, good luck.
Yep. See ya.
That's
Yep.
not
Next.
something
Next.
we don't.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's just like really building,
Yep.
value to our customers of
Yeah.
being there for them.
That was the sole reason we bought our ZSK from you guys, just having that support and being a phone call away to if we have something go down and can call you. Ryan will be down here the next day or whatever and get us back up and running.
Talk a little bit about your door-to-door sales. You did that. That's obviously a pretty cutthroat game and can be pretty overwhelming and a lot of things. How did that help shape kind of your customer experience and kind of really leading into that? I know you traveled a little bit, so let's tell a little bit about that experience and kind of how you overcame some of those objections and different things.
Yeah, so door-to-door is an interesting field, to say the least. It's obviously a little more transactional. You're there for a reason, right, to sell.
Yep.
And you're not really building relationships, which coming out of door-to-door, that was one thing I was like, I see this person, I get rapport, I build rapport, I actually want to talk to them again.
Yeah.
But I'm not going. Yeah, you're not going to.
Yeah,
So there's pros and cons to it. Where if you can get someone to like you, it gives you a good chance. But that's not, coming to SPSI. You're a little more. Hey, let's build
Value-based,
long-term relationships. Where it's like, if you can just be a genuinely good person and get back to them and just be there for them. I think that's where it's a little bit different. So door-to-door definitely shaped, I would say, my work ethic of just trying. Every day in door-to-door, you're waking up with zero. So it's like if you go out there and if you don't sell, you just worked a full day for nothing.
Sure.
Yep.
So that was, kind of shaped, hey, let's go be, really, purposeful of how we're doing things.
Yep.
And just being, relentless with, the work ethic of that. So.
Yeah, no, I think that's a huge part on door-to-door, and I think it's a good segue into sales. Like you almost should do door-to-door first, just to have that non-transactional, but it's a grind, and
Backs up against the wall because you got nothing when you start the day out. And
exactly.
Yep.
But that makes you better, right? Because we talked a little bit about the different objections and actually looking at your sales pitch and fine-tuning it in such a way that you can relate to these people and actually make that sale. That's an important skill that you don't really get if you're handed leads and you're just kind of the you go out and you're kind of just working the job, really. That door-to-door really kind of separates you and builds that just rigorous and builds that that sales resilience, really.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just articulating the value that you are providing to the customer.
Sure.
Door-to-door, it's why are you different? A lot of times it's if you can be personable enough to get them to talk, or just to open up. A lot of times you can walk down the line of like, hey, how are we different? And I think that's what really taught me is just getting a chance and just being hey, one step closer. If it's not today, it's not tomorrow. I'm just going to keep showing up.
Yep.
And I think that's what it showed me is, just that mindset of just, hey, take care of the customer at all costs.
Yep.
I'm doing a service to them, knowing that I, aren't serving them now. That's kind of how I always viewed it, is like, if I'm not serving them, they're buying from someone else.
Yep.
I know that that's almost a disservice, because I think I'm so confident in the service that we're providing that I just know, like, you're not going to get this anywhere else. And I think that's what we try to do at SPSI, and just in general. Like, I want to serve as best as I can, and if I can't, there's other resources that can, serve our customers.
Sure. Did you have any specific jobs that you had worked at, around that you didn't feel that, maybe the company that you were representing couldn't fulfill that you had to kind of leverage that and twist that? Because a lot of what we say, see in sales is, if you don't believe what you're selling, they can pick up on that right away. Like, people can read people, and if you don't believe it, then you're almost wasting your time. Did you have anything similar to that?
I've worked a few different jobs, but I think door to door I was fairly confident in what we were selling, because I saw it actually firsthand.
Yep.
But obviously there's certain things of door to door and pest control specifically where it's like, is it really doing the best? But I think it's the value of, like, hey, if we need to come back, we can come back.
Sure.
And just trying to serve the customer. So I really can't say that I've ever sold something that I wasn't really, like, truly all in. Yeah. So
What was the biggest determining factor to join the family business and stuff, going from the door-to-door world and now jumping into that?
I think for me, doing door to door really opened my mind to, kind of something that, you don't get at, 9 to 5.
Sure.
Because, being at a family business, yes, we're 9 to 5, but it's so much more, and it means so much more. So I think that was something that really, I didn't want to go that realm, but I also wanted to stay home. Doing door to door, you're like 4 months here, 4 months there.
Sure.
You don't really have a place where you call home. It's
Sure.
more you're bouncing around. So I knew I wanted to stay home, didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then, kind of coming off my second summer, I was like, long-term wise, did it make the most sense to do door-to-door?
Sure.
And that's kind of what always, I think, door-to-door people struggle with. And then that's kind of where it transitioned to where it's like, I'll just give it a shot.
Sure.
And giving anything a shot, I wanted to, go all in.
Yep.
So that's kind of where it led to me, hey, give it a chance, 6 months, 12 months, and then you fast forward, it's almost 2.5 years. So
Yep.
I think that's kind of what led me to SPSI. And then obviously the family business is, dad's involved, cousins, aunts, and it's just, again, it just means, a little bit more to, post, when the clock strikes 5.
Yep.
Is what I say. It's like you just hold on to it a little more.
What's been one of the biggest things to navigate with working with family? I work with my brother, my dad, and I've dealt with that over the years. What's been one of the biggest things you've maybe had to overcome on that side of things?
I think it's, obviously tension, in family business is always tough.
Yeah.
I think you always know, obviously you love each other. It's never coming from a hard place. Obviously you can be real, and you want your family members to be real.
Yep.
I was always under, perception of, hey, coach me as hard as you can. And I come from, played basketball in college, where I just told the coach every time, like, hey, if you're not coaching me, that's obviously a reflection of what I'm doing.
Sure.
Coach me hard. So that
Yep.
was, hopefully that's the way that people like view is like, hey, you can talk to him, be real, and he's not going to, think you're a bad person.
Yeah.
So
Just telling you how. Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming from a person in their, like, a place in their heart where it's like it's good, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's something that holds really close to me, is just being coachable, and then obviously in family business it goes beyond the boundaries of, hey, it always comes home.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
it's how do you escape or separate real life or your life compared to the family business, because
Yep.
it always seeps in.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, and that's what you do every single day, and you're with each other, and that's what's current in your mind. And then you see them at Thanksgiving and whatever it be, and
Oh yeah.
conversations come up.
Yep. What's one thing that you've really kind of like led to change, in obviously a long time family business, and I know Blake's done with it. Things can be done probably a little bit more old school in there, and there's just newer things that can be done, tweaks. Have you, been a part of making those changes to kind of drive some of the new? I know we talked about social media a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's right now kind of the biggest thing we're trying, kind of transitioning into, is just a more of a documenting of what we do.
Sure.
That's kind of the approach I was kind of telling you a little bit about before, was just trying to really come across to our customers of like, hey, here's a little glimpse of what we do. It's everyone thinks, oh, you're just making money. It's like if you step in the world of, hey, let's see what day-to-day life is. It's like you do realize like we are trying to help our customers in the best that we can.
Yep.
And I think that's what we're really trying to come across. And obviously social media is, like we were mentioning before, is some do it and some don't. And I think if you're not doing it, it's almost a disservice to your business. In any business, you can be niche focused. It can be not niche focused. Obviously, for us, it's really niche focused because we have only so many people that are really like, oh, doing embroidery or doing screen print. So it's really small, but I think you can build a really, impactful engagement with your audience.
Yep.
So that's something we're just, trying to always, ongoing with social media.
Yeah, well, and I think that's pretty cool too. I mean, coming from outside in, I'm not in the screen printing business, obviously, but just watching Blake and what he does here, to me, that's interesting, right? Like, it'd be even interesting to know what you guys do behind the scenes. And I think that for any consumer that wears a shirt or anything that's custom embroidered, it'd be kind of neat to kind of know, like, this is where it begins, type of a thing. So I think there's a lot of potential, social media engagement there and kind of story building.
Yeah. And I think that's what we're trying to, build from a consumer. Right, if someone sees a shirt in a store, they're like, "How's that made?" Yeah. They may have certain decorators that they go to that say, "Hey, that's how you get there." But I think what SPSI is really trying to build is like, if you are trying to get into the field of decorating, there's a good resource that's going to walk you down the line of like, okay, here's how you start, here's how you get suppliers for certain garments, and then here's how you actually bring that design to life, and this is how you get it on that garment. And obviously every garment's different, so it's like, how do you, there's all those intricacies of what it actually entails. So I think that's what we're really trying to build, and obviously that takes years and years of trying to get that across.
It's crazy because you can get more benefit from just providing value in those videos than trying to directly sell, like, buy this product, buy this. If you're just telling people how things are done or showing them the backstory, if they're interested enough, they will look you up and they'll click on your profile. And like, you don't have to be, this is the best product out here, you have to buy this. Like, if you're just going through the steps, like, that's all you need to be doing out there.
Yeah. And that's something that I think my approach with social media is, not coming across as selling something, but more obviously educational and just, again, just trying to be a resource. If someone's following us, I just want them to be like, hey, I'm getting actual good information that's
usable.
It's usable. It's up to date, because I think the whole industry is at a really a inflection point. Is what we're saying is like, you go to shows and what do you see there? Is there value of going to those? They get expensive.
They're expensive. Oh man, I can only imagine. I've done a few on smaller scales just for my own personal stuff, and you're $5-10 into just a couple space booth deal, and got the team and all your product and
a lot of travel.
Yeah.
And
some of those bigger ones, $100,000, I bet, or more. Bringing everything out there.
Yep.
How was we talk a lot about like vertical integration on the podcast as well in business. I know you guys do a lot of like private labeling with products and stuff. How has that kind of helped the business and help you guys stand out with kind of perfecting some of the stuff along the ways and then putting your name on it as well?
Yeah, so I think there's obviously a few products and a few different pieces of equipment that we've really looked at, and I think what it allows you to do is kind of build what is SPSI. And I think those certain products can really allow you to unlock, if it's direct to film or if it's certain, chemicals, it's just, we can use that vendor support and kind of, put our twist on it.
Sure.
If there's certain things that we see, we go to our vendors and say, hey, can we bring this to life?
Yep.
And I think that's something that we, as a resource for our vendors, maybe it's a product that we bring to them that, again, hey, our customers are asking, that we can be a resource to our vendors, where we're trying to help them too. So we're just trying to, I think that's how we try to position ourselves is, we're trying to build relationship with our vendors, build relationship with our customers, and then kind of build that together.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of customers of ours really value the vendor support from us that we get, and obviously that's a big thing of what SPSI is built on is like, hey, if you're having a problem, we can get manufacturer in there, and that's really impactful for certain jobs and certain companies that are. Yeah,
you can't get that everywhere.
Obviously it's like pulling teeth out for a lot of manufacturing support. So I think that's what we just try to come across to our vendors of like, hey, we're going to do our best to grow with you guys. So that's something that we just try to strive for.
Sure. What have you seen as changes in the industry in the last, call it 5 years? Have you seen any huge like swings in whether that be, companies changing hands or processes that have changed, drastically in it? Or
Yeah, I think anyone in the industry has definitely seen the rise of direct to film. It's almost, if you're in the industry, it's hard to not see it. But someone on the outside, basically direct to film is basically a transfer that has, not the old transfer. It's got a really nice soft hand.
It's not your Cricut cut and stuff and all. Yeah.
It's just a little bit different than your old transfer. That DTG, which is direct to garment, basically prints ink onto a shirt. You need pre-treat in order for that ink to stay on the shirt. So that was a process that had a little more steps. And I think direct to film has kind of solved that. The industry itself has seen a lot of consolidation. It's seen also a lot of customers demanding higher colors but lower quantities. So where screen print is the best. Hey, 1 color, 2 color, smaller colors, more volume. Screen print is we believe screen print is always going to have a place.
Yep.
But we think that there's supplemental areas where direct to film makes a lot of sense. It can actually speed up screen print areas. A lot of times where you're reaching for, hey, can I do this 4-color 10-piece order? It's like you can, but do you want to?
Yeah. It's costing you money to do it. Yeah. Screen printing.
Yeah.
How have you guys stayed ahead of the curve on all the evolution of screen printing and transfers, and obviously you guys brought on some new equipment to keep up with that, but is there anything else you're doing to kind of stay ahead of the curve and the change?
Yeah, so I think that's something that Tom, my dad, does really well is your pros and cons. He jumps into things that are very innovative stuff where it's like, let's figure it out. Let's see if it's got a place. So a lot of times we bring in stuff that is this going to be something new? Whether it's UV, DTF, or direct to film. We've been in direct to film for 4 or 5 years, where it's like we wanted to be in it to really know what it involved, and then we wanted to be able to service and support our customers because that's what we value. So I think that's how we stay innovative is bringing on new products, not being afraid to bring on new products, and then just having an approach of like this can unlock a lot of things, or we can fall on our face and we tried it. So that's what we really value is like always trying to innovate, whether it's supplies or equipment or methods, all that kind of stuff. So
I think that's a huge part about staying in the curve in a very niche business is really not being afraid and just kind of sitting on your hands waiting for somebody else to do it before you do it. And I think that's awesome. I think you'll win more times than you lose. Obviously you'll have some losses in there, I'm sure, and I'm sure you guys have dealt with that being a family business over the years. Been some things that you wonder what the heck were you doing that for, but I'm sure you've also got some pretty big wins out of knowing that process, that equipment through and through.
Technology, there's beauty of technologies that you have 4 or 5 years, if that, right? And it changes.
Just
so
like that.
You just don't know how long it's going to be, so you got to maximize every window.
Or you don't know what's next.
You don't know what's next. You don't know, like DTG. DTG's really kind of, just fallen off.
Massively.
Just because of the rise of direct to film, DTG, works on certain garments and it's getting better, but I think DTF is just.
It's an all around.
There's pros and cons because the cost of entry to get in is, not as much as DTG was. But there's a lot of horror stories of DTG and just digital in general. So it kind of scares some people away, and then some people can help them get into it a little easier. Which
how have you seen that affect the industry? Because I definitely see it firsthand. I see a lot more like boutiques popping up, and now they're print shops all of a sudden because they can order transfers online for $50 and run some shirts or whatever. How have you seen that affect the industry with people you've served or like who you're serving? Has that changed like some of your clientele?
Yeah, I think for sure we've seen, like I said, pros and cons to it. Heat press, you get a heat press, you can buy from a lot of different transfer houses and, I'm a print shop now.
Just like that.
And there's pros and cons of that. I think where it gets really tricky to really, sometimes it gets very transactional. It's like, I just want this, want that. It's like, are we building something that's long-term focused? And again, that's, sometimes you don't get that with something that's very low cost entry.
Sure.
Maybe I can try it, and if I don't make it, I can just get out. It's like, that's probably not the best thing to do.
No.
You know,
no.
so, and again, screen print it's probably affected the most. I would say
Yeah.
just from general screen print, we don't see a ton of manual shops popping up, which, you know, if you backtrack 6 years ago, we did a lot of manual screen print, but now we
DTF.
we don't see much
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
Which
They
is-
don't jump into any screen printing until
Yeah.
they're doing a lot of DTF or
Correct.
whatever, and when you can
Yeah.
sub a lot of that stuff out now.
Yeah, and I think that's just a lot of people are subbing. You know, there's a lot of shops that what we're seeing right now in the industry is a consolidation, whether it's
Yep.
supply companies,
Yep.
you know, whether it's actual, you know, printing companies, you know, the big are big. And
Yeah.
the small are, you know, it's just difficult to
Yeah.
compete.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to compete with big,
Yeah.
you know,
Getting
especially-
gobbled up by 100 shirts for $3.99 and
Yeah.
stuff like that out there.
Yeah.
And yeah.
There's a lot of, you know, competition for, you know, screen print shops, and a lot of screen print shops
Yeah.
are, you know, really predicate on just keeping the presses moving.
Yeah.
So again, that's, you know, you get pros and cons of that.
Yeah.
You know, prices
Yeah.
sometimes not the first thing. It's
Yeah.
how do we just get the presses moving?
Yeah.
So
I think that's where it's important to focus on that customer service and that value, like you're talking about for SPSI, and that's more recession proof when you have a good book of business and you're building those relationships, and you know it's not as transactional where they can go to anybody and get that product. You know, that's going to stand through the test of time for sure. So
yeah, absolutely. Just being a resource to your customers.
Yeah.
At every walk of life, honestly, you know,
Yeah.
equipment is one thing,
Yep.
and then supplies is, you know, it's kind of like you're saying, it's the, you know, it's the stuff that keeps the lights on, right?
Yep.
It's the stuff
Yep.
that, you know, you can grow you know,
Yep.
with your customers of like,
Yep.
hey, if we can help you here, we may be able to help you here. And
Yep.
if we can solve problems, we're
Yep.
going to be able to, you know, serve our customers.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm looking a little bit into the future. What's next for SPSI? Is there, you know, are you any expansions or growth kind of in the up and coming?
Yeah, so we're always trying to, you know, grow. We have a saying, obviously, you're either growing or dying. So there's always ways of, you know, growing that I think we're always looking to, you know, grow. We're positioning, you know, different people, different ways. We have kind of a transformation kind of going on in Texas. That's our other location. So we have an Arlington branch that we've really invested into, you know, kind of build that back up. So we've doubled in size for the warehouse that we're in now, and we're just trying to, you know, serve our customers down there the way that we do up here. And I think that's kind of, you know, big growth potential in Texas. And then obviously logistics are always, you know, play our industry. So it's like, how can we position ourselves to help our customers that are in, you know, whether it's Rhode Island or, you know, Montana. It's like, you know, maybe shipping points, or, you know, all looking at areas that just can help us.
Full customer experience increase on,
Yeah. And obviously seminars, I think we're going to do a lot more seminars in-house that just allow more educational. I mean, that's what we're trying to, you know, we're just trying to educate customers. We're not, you know, selling is always one thing, but educating is how you get the sale.
Yeah. And you want to keep those shops open and thriving and growing right alongside you. Yep.
Yeah, you want to pass it on to your customers so that they can survive and grow. Because we grow if our customers grow.
Yep.
It's always that kind of saying of like,
Yep.
you know, how our customers do is a big reflection of how we're doing.
Yep.
So if we can help our customers in any way, that helps us. So
Yep.
that's always kind of how we, you know, we just try to help. That's what we just try to help people. So.
Yep. Be a good resource.
Yep.
So you talked about seminars and really adding the value to the customer. What's in the future for that, and how do you think that's going to help, you know, you guys grow and the print shops grow alongside you guys?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing with seminars is obviously being an educational resource is kind of what we keep referring to, using our vendors as you know kind of anchors to be a resource at those seminars. We've had a lot of good seminars where it's actually in shops that, you know, our customers can go see a shop and be like,
Yep.
oh, that's what they're doing. Oh,
Yep.
I can take that I can take that knowledge of,
Yep.
you know, going and see someone, you know, firsthand. Like, how do they use certain things that I may be able to incorporate? You know, whether it's, you know, big thing right now is certain screens allow you to not tape,
Sure.
or certain, you know, durometers or squeegees may just allow, you know, to lay ink a little nicer.
Yep.
So there's just different ways that screen print specifically, and embroidery is the same way, direct-to-film's the same way, of processes that may help shops. So I think that's how we're just trying to, you know, get back to, you know, how do we give value to our customers in the best way? You know, and that's where I keep referring to shows is like, okay, here I'm selling something.
Yep.
But seminars is like, how are we actually providing value to you?
Yep.
So I think that's where we're just trying to position ourselves of like, shows are really good to do because it keeps your, name and credibility out there in the industry.
Center. Yep.
But it's, there's layers to it of like, how do you actually, peel back that and, there's a face to, every
Yep.
brand. And
Yep.
who is it and, how can they help you and how can
Yep.
that brand help you, your business grow?
Yep.
So I think that's how we're really trying to take the seminars to a different level. And we're excited with.
I know I've reaped some of the benefits. Just we went and toured that shop, and you get stuck in your ways of doing things for so long, and it works. And I'm definitely always open to try new things. And going up there and kind of touring that shop and getting some firsthand experience, we definitely changed quite a few things in the shop. It's all minor things, but it's the squeegees and the screens and the ink and some additives, and it's like just providing the best possible product you can out there. And I would have had to do a lot of trial and error to get to those steps, on my own. But yeah, being able to kind of leverage your guys' resources and all that has been definitely really beneficial.
Yeah. And I think just a kind of spin off of this, just because, with even the construction side of things, is it kind of seems almost like it's a new age of doing things. I feel like a lot of in the past, whether it's construction, screen printing, people are always so tight-minded,
secretive,
like,
and
I can't
yeah,
show you my little trade secret over here or whatever. And I feel like kind of this new wave is like, let's just raise the bar.
Yeah.
Like let's
Yeah.
just
Be better.
Let's
Yeah.
just be better, like legitimately better. Like everyone says, yeah, our screen printer's better, or our roofs are better, or whatever. But like legitimately better and a better customer experience and a better product at the end of the day. And to me, I just love that. Like I have nothing to hide myself. Like
Yeah.
we do similar things in the roofing space, and there's still definitely a lot of people that like hang on to it so tight, and they're like absolutely not. Like you're gonna let them do that. Like we're in the process of helping out another roofing company with like setting up their whole CRM, and people probably think I'm crazy, but like
Yeah.
it's fine with me. Like raise the bar. Like let me share what I've learned, and I don't know it all, but like let's just do that and provide that value. I think that's just such that little bit of just providing those seminars or masterminds or whatever it is. People are, and the true winners, in my opinion, the true winners are the ones doing that first.
Absolutely.
They're actually successful. They're the ones that will be the first ones to open the door. Like, yeah, come on up, take a look at whatever it is, whatever business you're in. They're more than willing to do that because they want the bar raised too. They don't want necessarily the price point. Like they're building a true business that has a brand behind it and all of that.
Value. Value.
And I think the shops that are the most open are obviously the most confident shops of like truly built something that you can go try to build it, and by all means we'll give you it. But there's still some like, hey,
100%.
we are very confident in like the way that we do things. Like there's reasons that customers keep coming back, and I think that's why the most open shops, to your point, are usually the shops that are most innovative. They're the shops that are doing the best. Whether it's the industry's down, they may be able to weather it a little bit just because they're weather innovative. They've innovated a little faster, or just in general their customers are just a little more sticky. So I think that's something that we've seen. To your point, the most open shops a lot of times are the ones doing the best.
So I think that's just because those owners understand what they've built. It wasn't the overnight success where they opened it up in their garage and they started something, or roofing out of your truck or whatever. They've truly built a business that they know what it takes to get there, and they know no one can replicate it because you're already 10 steps ahead of them. And that's not mean cocky. It's just they're confident in what they're doing and what they're building.
You're turning it into a household name too when you do things like that.
100%.
It builds credibility. It builds just name, the name of the brand. It gives people that may have never heard of it, a reason to look it up. And then it just obviously everyone knows if you look it up, and that's how it spreads. It's the organic audience growth where that's kind of what we strive for. You'd rather have 2,000 followers that are really sticky than 200,000 that you don't get any engagement. So I think that's something that you're providing value, and people see value. I think people really
do.
But they do see that.
Yep.
Sure.
That's why we switched basically all of our business over to you guys. I mean, we were ordering from other suppliers, and now we basically cut them all out because of the value that you guys have provided. So, I mean, firsthand experience is working. So,
and we appreciate that, and obviously any opportunity, we just always appreciate getting the opportunity to serve and be a resource. I think that's the biggest thing we've ever tried to do, is just be very genuine. I don't think, our customers sometimes you're out to get us. It's like, I'm not out to get you. Yeah, there's always those stories of like, you install the equipment and it's a lemon. It's like, you got to come from our lens. Like, we're not. Are we selling, machines that may have problems? Obviously, there's always, you're in the manufacturing world. There's going to be problems.
There's always,
but we're going to stand behind what we support and what we carry.
Yeah,
and we're going to be very transparent of like, we've seen it, we know what to do, or we need to get the manufacturer involved. And there's a lot of times where, we work with it weekly. When you sell a lot of equipment, you're going to run into problems.
It's just the name of the game.
So,
but yeah, we're kind of wrapping up the episode here. Definitely shared a lot of insight on customer service, experience, innovating, jumping on the social media bandwagon. Is there something that like a quote or anything you live by that gets you going, excited in the morning? Whether it's something someone's said to you over the years and it really stuck?
Yeah, I think the kind of something that I always live by is the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, and that's just going back to kind of St. John's basketball, for me, really kind of shaped, whether it's you're seeing someone for the first time or you're seeing someone for the 100th time, how is that interaction? And how do you, go about your work and your business, and where is it genuine? Where does it come from? Showing up every day, is the biggest thing for me. Is just like, just show up. I mean, everyone knows, like, if you just show up, you're going to fall into stuff. So I think that's, one thing that we really just try to do more every day.
Yeah, so that's a good one. Also, how do people find you? Whether it's Facebook, website, email, phone, how do people get a hold of you?
So personal, obviously, Colton Codute is just a handle on most stuff, and then just SPSI in general. It's SPSI Inc. So a little backstory in SPSI. So SPSI actually stands for Screen Print Supplies and Inc. And then as we transition into a few more sectors, whether it's digital or embroidery or just graphics, we kind of dropped the screen print supplies, and then just SPSI was the name. So SPSI Inc. is just how most of the socials you can find us on. And again, we're just trying to build, hey, what is the supply side, the equipment side of the industry, and then just any educational stuff that we can provide to our customers. So that's just kind of how we want to see and how we want to grow. So
perfect. Well, I appreciate you stopping down here and telling your story. Remember, today's a good day for a good day.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.